Hello. I don't know if y'all could see. Yeah, y'all could see me. These are my top 10 Jets biggest takeaways of the Jets season in 2025 in this off season. And I got them listed here. And if you agree or disagree, write down in the comments what do you disagree or agree with. Number 10 that I wrote down is the wide receiver, tight end, or the pass catching. What do I think of what they have? There's a lot of concerns that the Jets didn't do enough in the free agency and getting the right wide receivers to protect Garrett Wilson, who's the fear is he'll be double teamed and who's gonna be really scared of the other end of the football. And I say wait and be patient here. This is why I have it number 10. I would be higher up if I felt a little more like they didn't address it at all. They did address some of it, and we need to give those I think it's Josh Reynolds. I don't even know who the other guy is, but they did get an Arian Smith guy, and he reminds me a lot of like Lavernius Coles when he first got in the NFL. That people were saying the same thing. Why did they take such a? But he was the 6th or 7th round pick. I mean, or 5th. I don't even know. He was a late round pick. So, they got this guy a little early, a little eager. I thought the tight end Mason Taylor. What do I think of Mason Taylor? I haven't seen him much. I'll be honest with you. I really like the other guy, Tyler Warren. I think I kind of felt like they should have taken a chance with him. I'm not going to argue with what they did get in the first round, but I thought they could have gotten tight end in the first round and gotten a good offensive tackle in the second round. I think Mason Taylor, he has a chance to be good, but I would hold off on everybody thinking that this guy is going to be a world beater. If he's a second rounder, he's okay. I mean, we'll see what is, he has that family connections. So again, I put this down because they did draft some people. They did address some. I just don't think these are not sexy names. Let's not kid ourselves. And then after those 2 or 3 mentioned, with I forgot, what's his name, Rogers, the guy who left, his favorite target, I don't even want to mention his name. So number 9 is the conference. So I think this is a takeaway because we're going to be playing Miami twice, Buffalo twice, and New England twice. And if you want any resemblance of hope for the future, it's that you start playing these games and you start winning some of these, going 3-3 and start battling against these teams that are in your conference, in your division. And right now you have to look at, this division, Buffalo Bills, they just, every time I think they're getting older, every time I think they're going to take a step back, they have one of these drafts where they just get a bunch of steals. And we'll see if they're really good. Some of these drafts, they overproject people, but I like what the Bills did. And I think the Bills are the real deal. I think the Bills are looking at, one of the top AFC records next year. They're going to be a top team. This is at the peak of the Bills' aptitude right now. If they don't win a championship here, it's going to be a while. But yeah, so I don't think the Jets have a chance against the Bills. I think the Jets are going to lose both those games, and I think Bills are going to take this division. So if we're talking about the Jets in the playoffs, and I'll talk about that later, you could rule out this division. And then Miami is a dangerous team. You remember, this is a team that has that offensive passing attack. Of course, they've lost that quarterback quite a bit from concussion, and they sometimes play soft. I don't know. This year is going to be one of those weird years for Miami. I think they're going to be a dangerous team. I'm just not sure. When I'm not sure about Miami, I worry about them. And then New England. And New England, they have to take a step forward with their quarterback. Their quarterback can't have a bad second year. He has got to develop them And I have a feeling. This is just me on the quarterback they got last year. He's a gunslinger. I have a thing. I feel like he will take a step back, just the same as the Miami Dolphins. I forgot Tua Glovia, whatever it did. He had, and just like Chad. I'm trying to remember these guys' names. I'm sorry, but the guy from Jacksonville that got drafted in the he had his big sexy names, and they thought he was going to be great, and for one reason or another they couldn't protect him. They didn't get the wide receivers, and I think this is exactly what's going on with New England. And I have a feeling that this guy is not going to survive New England. I think he's going to have a bad year, and they're going to be asking themselves, is this the guy? This is what's even worse than having a bad quarterback. It's having a guy who is a 50-50. He could go one way or the other. And that could take years to rebound from. So that's my takeaway there. And so I think the Jets are kind of, they I'll get to that later. I guess that part later, but I think the Jets are at the bottom of the of that division. Uh, the secondary, are they better or worse? Is the secondary better or worse? And I, you look at, they lost DJ, um, and they have a guy. God, I should have looked up these names before. Sorry, y'all. But their defensive back that they had, their number one um, guy, really struggled last year. They just did not come up with turnovers. I have a feeling that they will. They did enough. I like some of their pickups they got, especially that safety they got. I don't have these names. I struggle with names. That's why I don't do these kind of videos very often. But when I look at this overall, the overall defensive backs in the court, I will get to that a little bit later. Why? I just think they have improved. I think they will improve, but to what extent? I'll get to that too. And not drafting an offensive tackle. This is a huge one for me. This is what I think is going to be the biggest problem with the Jets, because they have a very thin defensive line. This is not a very deep defensive line. And teams are going to expose this team very quickly by running the football down the Jets' throats and pounding and then doing a short game. And then what's going to end up doing is it's going to put teams in like a 2nd and 2. And they're going to be able to throw the ball downfield because the Jets are going to have to creep up. And, of course, trying to stop the run, they're going to have to put their safeties up, which is going to kill them downfield. I think you know where I'm going with that a little bit later. So the other one is, of course, the scheduling. And I was all for the Jets getting a number one pick in the draft next year. But of course, the NFL has a funny way of rewarding teams who have one of the worst teams in football the year before. They don't want you doing that too many times. The Jets just have this wonderful way of missing out on great arms, great quarterbacks. They win just enough games to just make it so we never get anybody that we're looking for. We're always looking for the people at the wrong years, seem like. And this is no different. The schedule is there. We shouldn't be happy that the schedule is this week. We never get a weak schedule when our team is good. No, we get the hardest schedule in the NFL. No. I mean, we get this weak schedule when we have no chance at all in getting the playoffs. I mean, as weak as the schedule is, this is my thoughts on my takeaways. The Jets are going to struggle to win any of these games if they even have it in there. I mean, so the weak schedule, I have them going 1-7 in the first 8 games. And people will say, "Oh, we're going to win 3 or 4 games." I say, "Where?" Pittsburgh, you're going to start Pittsburgh. And if anybody really thinks that Pittsburgh is not going to beat the Jets somehow in some way, oh, it'll be a close game going in the second half. I don't deny this might be a close game. The Jets could pull it off, but I with a new coach, first game of the year at home, maybe. But I'd say 2 of those things are bad. Uh, I think Pittsburgh pulls it out. I think they have better coaching. I think they have a better quarterback. They have a better team, and it's really bad. You don't want to play Pittsburgh in the first week of the NFL season, and then you end up with Buffalo in game 2, right? I mean, you're 0-2 right there. So then you got a Florida trip, which is terrible this early in the year. Against what? Jacksonville? No, it wasn't Jacksonville. They played. Was it Tampa Bay? Yeah, Tampa Bay and Miami. Uh, they're good. The Jets would be 0-4 before they even. You know, I don't see them. I see them set September being just terrible, and then you got Denver coming in. Denver, the world beaters, right? I think they had one other game too. I'm trying to remember. So they end up with, I think, Denver, and then you have. Uh, I'm trying to remember the other team. I think it was another. I think there was another team out from the. Was it New England or something? No, New England. I'm not sure, but I have them winning at Carolina. That's the one. That's the one game I have them actually beating somebody. In the first 8 games. And then the next 8 games, I'll be honest with you, when it doesn't matter and you're 1-7, you still have tough games in there, but they could pull off 3 or 4 wins in the second part of the schedule. It's possible. They could also lose those games. At 1-7, or it doesn't really matter. You lose one more game. So I'm a little bit pissed off. The schedule sucks, and then you have the running back class. Is it the best in the NFL? Is this running back class the best in the NFL? And I say no. You all are way too high on the Jets running back class. They are often injured. They got 2 guys who haven't done a darn thing. They were drafted high. That doesn't mean a darn thing. It really doesn't. And behind a new offensive line, that's great and everything. But I think teams are going to be moving up against the Jets this year. They're not going to respect the Jets run. I haven't seen the Jets schemes yet, but if you can't pass the ball downfield, which I'm going to get to in a little bit, it's not going to open up the running game. I see the Jets getting down early with getting behind a lot. So they're going to have to catch up, and so they're going to have to pass to get a little bit pass happy. I think fans would boo if they were running the ball down 14 with the second half. I mean, you got to a little bit, but if they're just going to go run the second half, and you're down, 14, 17 points. I mean, come on, y'all. What? Let's talk about this I'll address some of this stuff back. I just got this in order here. And so the other thing is the defensive needs, I think is what I got here. The defensive backs, I already addressed that. I already addressed the schedule. Let's get to I already addressed not getting a defensive line. Okay, let's talk about drafting an offensive tackle. in the draft. Again, I go back to I thought they should have gone with Tyler Warren, but they ended up getting a Mumbo or a Muhammad from Missouri, I guess, and you know, I I think I'm somewhat content with that pick. I mean, it could have been a lot worse, trust me. So it just we'll see how it pans out. I got excited when they drafted the other guy back a few years ago, and he was terrible. They've had a history of drafting these tackles, especially right tackles. So they do have a chance to be really, really good if they gel together. We'll see what happens there. I like the fact that they did though get a guy in the first 2 rounds. I thought that was important. Stabilizing the offensive line, or at least getting the offensive lines intact. You can address it in the future without having to use your first or second round pick. So in these next 8 to 10 drafts, they don't have to go first round or second round. You get offensive linemen, right tackles, left tackles, these guys that are in third, fourth round. You don't have to go so high. So now you can use those rounds for other positions, which is so important in the NFL. You have to address that offensive line because you don't want to overpay. And then, of course, now we go in the future. So, how far off are we in 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 serious? How far off do I think the Jets are and get into the playoffs? Let's get back in the playoffs. Let's get and I think I'll be honest with you. I think that the future for the Jets is very good. I think the Jets have a future. I don't know if that means a Super Bowl. I might not see a Super Bowl until I die, till after I'm in my grave. I don't think that's going to happen. I just, with the Johnsons owning this team, something would have to happen where there was a transition in ownership, where Johnson would hit some kind of like a breaking point where he was like, okay, I'm going to die soon. Just like I think there was a guy from the San Diego Padres, the owner there, and he turned the corner, and maybe he does another Bob Dolan or something. I don't know. I think we're a little bit crazy there because Johnson he always puts himself in there quickly, or he's just a bad owner. What can he say? He doesn't know. He knows about as much football as I do. Probably less. Probably. So he's just terrible. He's one of the worst owners I think in sports. To me, he's done nothing good. It's telling when Bill Belichick runs out of the building to sign with another football team that's right in the same conference. That was insane. I remember that day. And that's when I realized how bad Johnson was. So the future is stagnant, but good. I think you can expect better in the next coming years. And I'll get to why. And that is in it is a QB room. What do I think of Justin Fields? And everybody's glamorizing Justin Fields, a guy who lost his job in Pittsburgh, a guy who called out his team in Chicago. I don't know if y'all remember that. And it was looked really poorly on. And a lot of people say, well, he's had a chance to grow up a little bit and mature, and this guy has done everything right. Since he's been in the Jets, I have heard this story, and I fell victim to this story so many times in my past. I will see it to believe it. I'll see it when the game speed goes up, and he has to make quick decisions downfield. And read a defense and be able to throw the ball accurately, and we'll see. I think his improvement, if there is any. But what do I expect from Justin Fields? If he's doing good, I expect him to be a game manager. I expect him to manage the game, call the plays from scrimmage, running plays, short passes. I don't want Justin Fields to be throwing for 300 yards because if he has like 270, 280 yards passing, the Jets are down by 30 points. He is just throwing the ball you know, that's his, he's got to be at, I think the sweet spot for him is between 150 and 200 yards per game. If you see him about 180, 190, that's good. We want to see that. What we want to see a lot of is him taking, being able to throw screens, being able to throw it to the outside for 5, 6, 7 yards, being able to hit a tight end for maybe 4, 5, 8 yards. They're not going to be. Garrett Wilson, when he's utilized, he'll catch like a 13-yard pass. That's good, but don't expect a lot of those. Garrett Wilson will probably make a lot of open field moves to get his yards. Everybody says Garrett Wilson's going to have another 1,000-yard year. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to struggle getting 900 yards this year. We'll see what happens. But I just, it's one thing having Aaron Rodgers throwing you the football. It's another having Justin Fields having to throw you the football. Big difference there. I just don't see Garrett Wilson getting open. He had Adams last year. He had some, there were some reasons why Garrett Wilson had a breakout year. So I see Garrett Wilson being sort of unhappy with this offense because they're going to run the ball a lot more. With Aaron Rodgers, they pass. They did a lot of passing. With Justin Fields, I see run, screen, option, these kind of things. And so we're talking about Aaron Glenn here. And are the Jets better with Aaron Glenn? And I think they are. From what I've seen, this guy is the best coach for the Jets because, as he said, we're built for this. I can't say the words, but with Aaron Glenn, what I expect him to do is everything I've addressed earlier. Aaron Glenn is going to answer a lot of these things. This coaching, the Jets are going to actually have coaches that coach the players. It seems like they haven't had that in I don't know how long. It sounds to me, what I've heard from the OTAs and everything else, is that he's addressing basics and trying to get them back on playing, good, sound football at least, which, if we know that that's been an issue. And so if that saves us a touchdown or if that saves us a couple drives, that could be huge. I mean, a lot of these games the Jets were in and they lost by 7, 10, 3, 7 points, whatever. And they lost in the fourth quarter, whatever. The problem I'm having is, as great of a coach as Aaron Glenn is, Aaron Glenn cannot teach Justin Fields to be Aaron Rodgers. I don't care who you are. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Glenn, Aaron Glenn. Justin Fields is Justin Fields. So it's a big drop off. There's only so much you're going to be able to do scheme-wise with Justin Fields. If it's 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, you really trust Justin Fields to throw down the field? As bad as he was at times, I totally trust Rodgers to throw an 8 to 9 yard pass than I do Justin Fields when defenses are going to be coming after you. So here's another thing. Does Glenn have in mind patience? Is he going to be looking long-term rather than short-term? If he's looking long-term, the thing that Aaron Glenn is going to be doing is developing his team around getting the right camaraderie of players in the game instead of, and I think they've done this in the last few years anyway, because they've been a young team. But I want to see some of these second guys, third guys come in and get opportunities in these games as well. I think that that's where you find pieces for the future. I'm not, I don't I I'm not I don't think at all that the Jets have a team that's solid enough to say that's our wide receiver one. That's our well, we do have wide receiver one, but wide receiver two, wide receiver three. In other words, and here's what I'm saying right now. I would like to see running backs other than Hall getting the football a lot. I want to see a lot of distribution. I want to see Malachi Corley. I want to see what he can do given a screen pass, a couple screens, or a couple just 3 I want to see what he can do. I want to see him in the open field break tackles. I don't want to see him going 8 yards down the field. I don't want to see that. I want to see him go 2 yards, turn around, boom, the ball's there, right? And also I want to see this other guy that they're developing, Smith. I want to see him. I want to see these guys. I want to see what they could do. I want to see them used in the right way. And because I've never seen the coaches actually use what they have in the right way. And I think Malachi Corley is one of these guys. I know they haven't done anything great with him. I think he's still learning some of the system. There's probably a new system now. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to y'all. I think the Jets will win. I would say 4 games. Let's just call it 4 games. 4 wins, 13 losses. They start out 1-7. They end up 3-5, 3-6 to end the year, and that's it. With 4 wins, I think the Jets are going to get the second overall pick in the draft, second or third. I don't think you're going to get the first pick in the draft, but they'll be right in there to get a quarterback that they need for the future, which is why I'm high on their future, which is why I think they're good for the future. Will that be the Hall of Fame quarterback that everybody wants to have? I don't know. It's a crapshoot. Anyway, enjoy the year.